Hi everyone, here again. It's David from Breakthrough Life Coaching and the Wellness HQ. So welcome back. Today's group discussion from the Wellness HQ online was all about what was important before lockdown that has now changed. And there was a really great discussion about healthy habits, what people missed from before, what they've had to learn to change, and it's really worth listening to some of the struggles that some of us have had, but also what we've learned from it. So I hope you enjoy. If you like it, leave a comment below, and I'll see you later. This group discussion was actually suggested to me by my lovely partner Richard, and it was something he was thinking about that actually might be worthy of a discussion. And I'm actually, I think we'll leave ourselves unmuted for now, and obviously, let's try to be kind and give each other a chance to talk about it. So the group's discussion subject is, what is now important to you that before lockdown might not have been? So think about the fact that lockdown has changed how our priorities, and I'm curious if anyone's happy to share what's changed for them in their priorities. And then leading on from that, what things have you learned from this? What things have you realized actually, well, my priorities has changed? How's that made me feel about, and am I thinking, am I going to have to think going forward? And thusly, it sort of leads on from the discussion that we had last week from Andy Gray, which is in a broader, we were looking at fitness and if people are going to continue to be fit and healthy after lockdown. But actually, I want to broaden it up and say, actually, what habits might have you learned from lockdown? Are you going to consider continuing after lockdown? Who would like to, anyone want to go in for their opinion first?
I don't mind, David. I'll go in for a quick one.
Go on.
Yeah, for me, it's funny enough. I'm not going to go down the old it's family and all of that route, because yes, it is. But the one big one for me is actually just a bit more self-care and a bit more. I'm actually trying to sit down and read a book and finish what we started. Loads of time to pick up a book. I mean, I've got 5 books that I've read a quarter of. So for me, it's finishing something and self-care, my own mental health. And the opposite is pivoting the business slightly. So I'm now looking at things that I'd probably dreamed about a year ago, and I'm bringing them ahead as schedule. And I did think about this literally yesterday. If I went straight back into clinic and had 10 clients every single day for the rest of the year, would I do that, or would I actually sort of make them wait and allow that self-care to fit in and the pivoting stuff I'm doing? And I think this time around, yes, I would. I would actually make a point of that, because I know what could happen. I could just get mentally busy and then just put everything back down again. So I'm treating this bit as a real way of actually saying, hang on, yes, I'm never going to turn people away, and I certainly need to earn the money as well, but it's protecting time for me and protecting time to grow the business in areas that I want to do.
I think
that's where I'm going to go forward after this.
I think that's really important for you, Paul, because knowing you personally as well, because we work together, Paul always puts his clients first over himself, and will move his schedule around to suit his clients. So hopefully, like you say, if you change that in future and put yourself first, obviously the client's still important, but if you're not due to work on a Wednesday morning, then don't have that client coming on a Wednesday morning. Make them fit into your diary.
Yeah. Be honest,
hey George, you can't pour from an empty cup, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to do a quick poll. Once I do it, I'll let you talk in a sec. But I'm really curious. Hands up if you've been in a similar position and you've always put the client first. Be honest if you've been there. Shockingly, everyone in the room has been in that position.
That's why we're in the profession we are, though. That's why we're wellness professionals, because we want to look after people rather than
we didn't care about other people. Yeah.
That's right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you, Paul. Juliet?
That's right.
I was just going to say that I've read an interesting thing recently that said, you've obviously got wealth affluence, but really should at least not that I've ever been wealthy, but I should try and be time affluent. Affluent, when you've got that time, use it really well, have experiences with that time. So it's not just, if you had plenty of time to do everything, and I think going on from what Paul's just said, it's this extra time that we've all had to do those quieter things, or to sit down, or to spend time with family, that's what we lack. That's what we lacked beforehand, and I'm certainly going to try and hang on quite tightly to a bit of time affluence.
Yeah, I think for me, tying that in, Juliet, with what you said, and also the next point that Dave was saying about things that we are doing now and that we'll continue to do moving out of lockdown. For me, exercise has always been a big part of my life, but it's something that, again, you know, I put on everyday life first before my own mental health and the exercise. But since lockdown, I've been going out and walking daily, and I've literally been walking kilometres and kilometres a day, to the point I've got a like a fitness tracker type thing, and it logged last week I did 35 miles last week, and the week before I did 32, and so I'm really going to try and continue and keep that up, so after lockdown that, you know, I might not be able to get out every day like I'm doing at the moment, but I'm certainly hoping to continue more of that, because that's my time that I can get to switch off and kind of park things for the day and just focus on me for a little while.
Yeah, I think sort of spot on, Laura, you know, like we've all been saying, it's that we almost had that forced time that we all had to stop, or we all had to change how we were working. So yeah, you know, how do we want to like relinquish that, you know, like you said, just that daily exercise, that's that time for you, it's that quiet time, thinking time, even creative time, isn't it, you know? And so it's, you know, I think where our routine has changed, I think we need to sort of hold on to that sort of, you know, as much as we can. Like Paul said, you know, the diary, and we'll shift things around to fit clients in, and we're like, oh, it's fine. At the end of the day, we're then shattered, but we go through because we love what we do. But I think we need to, you know, we're always saying to clients, you know, you've got to look after yourselves. I think we need to start holding that mirror up almost to ourselves, don't we, as well?
Yeah.
Practice what you preach, yeah.
Well, yeah, and I certainly, I know you guys will recognise this sometimes when it's quite the old saying. It's like the old story of the plumber with the leaky tap. Sometimes, because you know, I'm very good at helping other people set goals. I'm very help at you know, doing the weight loss and understanding that, and you know, analysing a food diary, giving them tips. That was a very loud sneeze. But yeah, but I sometimes struggle. So as a perfect example, a lot of you know, about 4 weeks ago now, someone actually smashed the back windscreen of our car as to break it. Really upset me. I posted about it on social media, and I had, for lack of a better term, a full-blown adult meltdown. And before, I had to really fight my emotions not to stuff my face full of food and sit on my computer and play gaming all day. I had to really fight, because that was my old habits. That's the man I used to be. And I think we've discussed this before, and it's very much true that as professionals, as wellness professionals, business owners, there is this perception that we they sometimes see us as perfect. But I mean, it's impossible.
Yeah.
Andy, you wanted to make a point. If you want to unmute yourself, Andy, you wanted to.
Is that better? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Good. Yeah, a couple of little things. Well, firstly, great to hear everybody's getting out, and well done, Laura, all the miles you've been putting in.
Thank you. Trouble is, I'm already quite short. I think after the end of this, I'm going to be even shorter. I'm going to wear my off.
A couple of things there. As you know, is I do quite a few events and things like that throughout the year, and they've all been cancelled since the beginning of March now till at least September. And that's been a real struggle for me, because all of a sudden all of the focus and targets I had have gone. So what do I train for? Okay, I like fitness, I like keeping fit, but it's actually, the gym's gone. The only thing I can do really is my own thing, and which I thought I was quite good at, but now I have to really drive myself to train every morning or every other day or whichever it's going to be. That was quite a surprise to me. That breaking routine, whatever has caused it, but there's probably a couple of things in the mix there. The other thing that I've thought about quite a lot is the clients that I have, and how they come back to me and what have you. But also, which somebody else mentioned, about working with clients that I don't actually want to work with. Certainly it might sound strange this, but certainly from a personal training point of view, you've got to have a rapport, and I'm sure it goes with a lot of our other disciplines that we do. You've got to have a rapport with that person. And if you haven't got that, and you're just turning up because, okay, it pays that hours, you know what? It's not enjoyable. And I've sort of come to that decision now that I'll take on new clients, obviously, but if after X amount of weeks it's not working, then I think it's only fair now to say, you know what, it's got to work for you and it's got to work for me.
Yeah,
absolutely. It's got to be a two-way process. It's got to be a two-way process. Give you a perfect example. The weight loss coaching program I'm running at the moment. There's 5 people on it. Just before it started, I spoke to a gentleman over Zoom. He was interested in joining the program. Talked through some bits, and I explained what was required. And one of the requirements of the program is that they will do an 8-week food diary. And as soon as I said it, he went, "I ain't going to do that. I can't be asked." And then I went, "I'm sorry, it's not going to work then." He went, "Oh, but you're meant to help me." I mean, I'm really sorry. I want to help you, but it's...
He needs to help himself as well, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He needs to take some responsibility for that, and you know.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
very true, because a lot of things, you know, when I get people come to me, if they train once a week, you know, in the percentage of time that they actually spend with me is really small. If they don't carry on the other bits and pieces that they need to do, then obviously it's my fault for that they haven't lost weight or they're not getting fitter, but you know, there's only so much you can do.
Yeah, absolutely. Juliet and Laura, you wanted to say something. Who wants to go first, Juliet or Laura? Go on.
Juliet, you go first. Yeah.
Thank you. I was just going to suggest to Andy that you maybe are there things for next year that are being planned and set up. I know I'm on a Facebook group that's for runners and people who do a lot more exercise probably than I do. But I know obviously the disappointment of marathons and half marathons and things being cancelled. Is there anything ready for next year? Is there anything you can sign up to? For me, it helps me to be quite a long way ahead sometimes.
Yeah, well, we had a season ticket for a thing called Rat Race, which is quite a few different events. So they've actually given us the option to defer it to next year, because we only actually completed one event. So that's all booked in for next year effectively. And there's events, you know, sort of possibly September, October, and so there is things further down the line, but it was just that immediate thing that there's nothing apart from bouncing up the road on a space hopper, you know. There's not a lot else been going on.
That was funny. That was funny. Go on, Laura. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, I think for me the thing that's changed, learning how to let go of guilt, because I assumed, as naturally I think everybody did, that during lockdown I was going to put on a load of weight. So I thought, you know what, I'm just going to let it happen and then I'll deal with it afterwards. I'm not going to punish myself by depriving myself of things. And I weighed myself this morning and found I've actually lost 5 pounds.
Oh, wow.
Conclusion on how, because I've not tried. Believe me, I've not tried. It's been, I think I've let go of the guilt and I said, you know what, it's okay. And because I've said it's okay, I've thought, I actually don't want to eat that. Yeah. And I think by letting go of that guilt is liberating, that I can do what I want. I have that control and power, but I control and have the power to say no as well. And that comes to everything, to be able to take that responsibility to say it doesn't matter and it's going to be okay anyway. A big thanks to John, by the way, for helping me when I was in a bit of a pickle the other day to kind of rationalise and get me in a better place. So thank you.
Yeah. Can you keep that a little bit quiet, please? Otherwise, I'll be out of a job.
And David will be out of a job as well.
But this is it's pity that Sarah Baker's not here because obviously she's a counsellor. But one of the things that I learned early in my training with the counselling, because obviously that led on to the life coaching, was there's a theory known as transactional analysis. Graham Arnold, do you recognise it?
I know of it, but it's not part of my discipline.
Okay, so essentially, TA it kind of got developed on from psychodynamic, and it's this idea about he developed about the id. I know are you psychodynamic? You are. You so the id, the ego, super ego, stuff like that. But it was developed this idea that we all have the adult state, which should most of the time be in control. Ish. Then you've got the Then you've got the parent state, which is split into your nurturing parent or your critical parent. And then you've got your child state. So you've got your rebellious child, adaptive child, stuff like that. But the one thing that really helped me when it came to understanding about the guilt and how you feel around food and stuff like that is that when you say to don't have that, don't do this, don't have the food, don't do this, it's a critical parent's kicking in. And you're just going to go back to your childhood and all you're going to hear is your parents, don't do this. Don't. But then what ends up happening is when you try to restrict yourself, all that's going to happen is a rebellious child. He's just going to go stamp its feet. Well, I want that ice cream. Why can't I have it?
Never mind lockdown.
Yeah. And it's understanding that it's understanding that sort of connection between, our behaviours that have been set up from our childhood, and that actually sometimes, we want the adult in control, but sometimes it's accepting actually being restrictive. I know Andy will agree with this. Diets don't work. They never have worked. They never will work because they're restrictive. As soon as you restrict something, I promise you, everyone's going to have a meltdown. No one likes, be honest, hands up if you like being told what not to have. Shockingly, no one's put their hand up.
The guilt doesn't stop you. That's the thing. If I feel guilty because I've eaten a cream cake, it's not going to stop me eating the second one. It's just going to make me feel shit in between and then fat. It doesn't actually serve any purpose. So learning to let go of that guilt makes you feel mentally better, which of course gives you serotonin, which puts you in a happy place in the first place, therefore less desire to eat. So it seems that it's a rolling effect, but it's just breaking that first step of that cycle.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is quite funny actually. So certainly as a weight loss coach, I've put a lot of recipes out there, like baking recipes. As some of you might have seen in the Together networking group, I was sharing like carrot cake, banana bread, cherry and walnut scones. Some people were like, Dave, should you be sharing this? Because this is unhealthy stuff. I was like, is it unhealthy? What? I mean, they're home baked. The carrot cake was based on World War II, so there wasn't much sugar in it. And importantly, and I know Andy is, you can eat whatever you want. There's nothing you can't eat. It's just, if you have it, there's an old saying that I've said on TV a couple of times. It's okay to have the donut, but if you have the whole packet in a single sitting, maybe not. Yeah? Great.
I've got a client at the moment for weight loss who's so hers is a binge eating problem. And as soon as you kind of say you can't binge eat, she wants to do that. So she's found that, okay, I'm allowed to binge eat, but I'm going to binge eat on sugar-free jelly. She's allowed to do it, therefore she actually doesn't want to anyway.
Yeah. It is, honestly, and again, actually, I was having a conversation with someone the other day about eating habits, and there are people in this lockdown which are taking an opportunity to actually cook more home-cooked meals, to actually get fresher meals and cook from home, and I'm hoping that will be a habit that people will stick with. Because in actual fact, it does bug me sometimes when I heard someone the other day actually on a networking, they said, yeah, the only way you're going to lose weight is if you do a 5K every day.
Oh.
Yeah, and look at Andy's reaction straight away. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. No, the only way you're going to lose weight, 90% of it, is if you cook from home and eat healthy. Lifestyle
change, not a diet, a permanent lifestyle change. It's appropriate.
And whilst I'd love to agree with you, David, about people hopefully keeping those skills about cooking from home and cooking from scratch at home continuing, given what we've seen on social media with KFC queues and McDonald's queues and people like that, places like that, it's just really...
To be honest, I ordered fish and chips a couple of weeks ago and they charged me £3.50 for a sausage. I don't want fish and chips again.
No.
It wasn't even that great.
Yeah,
we did a home cooked KFC. Admittedly, we got the ready-made portions from Morrison's, but then we put other stuff to it, and the kids were most horrified when I put vegetables on their plate with the KFC. But it was great because then they're still getting the healthy stuff and what they think is KFC, obviously, but it's much better. And we didn't have to queue up for millions of hours, and we didn't have to put ourselves at risk with distancing. So, it sort of ticked a number of boxes. And to be honest, I really enjoyed it. I was really surprised. It actually tasted pretty close to KFC, but obviously it was healthier. I didn't look through and tip my plate up and tons of grease fell off.
And that's the thing. One of the things I did with my group in the second week was I gave them a task of what I wanted them to do was to research a shepherd's pie home milled recipe and actually look at the nutritional facts and then compare it to a ready meal. And we went through on a Zoom meeting, we went through, and the thing that shocked me in the ready meal, there was 3 different sources of sugar. There was sugar, there was dextrose, and I can't remember the other one. And it was just like, I'm sorry, but do you need sugar in a shepherd's pie?
No, absolutely not. No.
Also, you've got the long chain sugars in the potatoes, but yeah.
Well, yeah, but I mean, but the
Not
on the
added
label,
sugar,
not
yeah.
added sugar. Yeah.
Especially the artificial ones like dextrose.
Yeah, and it's you know, I've always said to people, 90. If you want to make healthier eating habits, or make a difference. I always say this to people. In a way, I don't want people to lose weight. That's not what I aim to do, because it shouldn't be about losing weight. It should be about promoting and educating a healthy lifestyle.
I call it weight management.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but it's 90% of the time you will achieve that if you cook from home and you look at portions, and you'll achieve it. I'd say, absolutely.
Only thing I'd add to that, David, is just the emotional side.
Yeah, true.
What are you doing with? Yeah, it might be really, really healthy, but if you're having 5 or 6 meals of that healthy day every single day because you're lonely or depressed, then it's not going to work. So it just depends. But that comes under, like I say, a bit under moderation. But I tend to look at just why are they having 6 meals instead of just a normal 3. But otherwise, you're all right.
I have to say that, because I work a lot with people who have chronic stress, that they have health problems as a result of sort of years of chronic stress. And this whole lockdown period, I've just seen such amazing changes in a lot of my patients, because this time it's just given them space to kind of heal, get off the roundabout, get off the the stress of like going into the office every day. I've seen some amazing changes happen over the last couple of months. But yeah, it's funny you're all talking about food, because for me as a herbalist, because I obviously give them herbal medicine to help them to heal, but food is such a big part of my work, and often the hardest part to shift. And as you're all saying, it's just so psychological. And yeah, it's about, I try to get them to shift their mindset and to stop thinking of chocolate or cake as a treat, and to see it as the opposite of a treat, and to see healthy food as a treat and a way of them taking better care of themselves. And, I think in the beginning of the lockdown, lots of people did just like stuff their face. But as time's gone on, I think it's in a weird way, I almost don't want this to end, because I'm seeing such positive results for a lot of people. I also just wanted to say that I really resonated with what Paul was saying earlier. I actually gave myself last week off because I was getting really burnt out. Because luckily my business has been able to carry on as normal online, and in fact it's increased because people really want to look after their health at the moment. And I really had to take a step back last week and just think about how to put some more boundaries around things, which I'm still working through. So I'm actually really glad I came along to this call today, because it's great to hear some other people struggling with the same issues.
Absolutely. And I think, there is, as you said, Melinda, there is this interesting thing that in that initial week, I think it's fair if people, the way they wanted to manage it at the time was to stuff their faces. I mean, do you know what I mean? We have to be mindful of, as Paul says as well, about the mental impact of eating habits on our health, and I think as well it is important that we are mindful that I think certainly as wellness professionals, and even as business owners, we are constantly looking at and comparing ourselves to other people, what they're doing, and thinking, well, they're doing this, they're doing this, they're being successful there. But actually, it is taking that step back and saying, well, actually, what is it that I want to do? And is it fair if I'm constantly comparing myself to do you know what I mean? It's like, I don't know if you guys saw it, but there was a tweet that came out from, I've always forgotten her name, Harry Potter author.
J.K. Rowling.
That's it, J.K. Rowling. She actually came out because she came out on a tweet and basically slammed life coaches because they were posting on their social media that if you didn't use lockdown to learn a new skill, learn a new language, to pivot your business, to do all this stuff, that you were some sort of loser. And she came across, she said, for starters, that's just absolutely unfair. You do not know what people are dealing with emotionally and mentally with this situation. And for some people, they are barely surviving with managing and dealing with this, let alone all the other stuff. So it's a really interesting subject. Thank you all very much. I've really enjoyed that.